let's return now to the Prime Minister's reckless decision to recognise Palestine. Joining me is Joel Burnie from the Australia, Israel and Jewish Affairs Council. Joel, good to catch up again. I want to start with the comments made overnight by the US Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, saying that the Trump administration was disappointed at the decision and was not even given a heads up. Where does this leave the relationship now, not just between Australia and Israel, a close ally of ours, but also with the United States?
Well, thank you for having me on, Danica. And obviously, the relationship between the United States and Australia is at a record low. And this is just one of many issues that have happened over the past couple of months that illustrate that the very important strategic alliance between our two countries has been placed on rocks because of the ill-fated and sometimes confusing approach of this government. And I think there are many examples, but one example over the past fortnight, and there's been a lot that's happened. A journalist asked the Prime Minister before he decided to pursue recognition with the announcement on Monday. He was asked last week, does he intend on speaking to President Trump about the potential for Australia to follow the United Kingdom, Canada and France in September and recognising Palestine? And his response was not just a no, it was a very tense and angry no. We have our own sovereign foreign policy and we don't need to pick up the phone and speak to the President of the United States. And what concerned me with that was not just the aggression about the comment, was the fact that in the past 48 hours from that comment, the Prime Minister had spoken to the Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer. He'd spoken to President Macron. He'd also spoken to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. So I think that the relationship is at a very strategic low, and that should concern all Australians.
Oh, look, absolutely. He's found the time to speak to Abbas, but can't even phone the United States or even repair the relationship with Israel. It baffles me. I also found it very strange when the PM spoke this morning about isolating Hamas. He keeps saying isolating. Shouldn't the goal be to destroy Hamas? I mean, is this not another reason why Hamas came out in support of the decision?
Well, you're 100% correct, Danica. Of course, the objective should be to rid not just Israel, but the Palestinian people of this tyrannical terrorist organisation that is Hamas. But I think the Prime Minister has unfortunately illustrated quite a lot of confusion about Hamas. Now, you alluded to it in your question. So the Prime Minister on his announcement on Monday said that Hamas would be against unilateral recognition of a state of Palestine because it was in the context of a two-state solution. This would be contrary to what Hamas wants and it will be isolated. And then Hamas comes out in Matthew Nott's article from a couple of days ago that says, no, we're actually gleefully, not only do we support it, but this was, exactly what we were trying to do with the violent assault that happened on October 7. It justified the attacks because now the world was shedding light on the plight of the Palestinians. And then the Prime Minister called that Hamas propaganda. You shouldn't listen to it. Well, I would say in response that nearly everything and every attack that this government has had against Israel since the start of this war 22 months ago has indeed been based on Hamas propaganda. All the figures out of the so-called Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry is Hamas propaganda. The accusations of failures of food distribution, malnutrition and famine is Hamas propaganda. So it's interesting that the Prime Minister picks and chooses when he'll accept information from Hamas and when he will reject it as propaganda.
Yeah, well, I mean, look what happened when the New York Times as well ran that picture of that little boy on the front page. It turns out, no, he wasn't starved. He had cerebral palsy. But I think the media as well have a lot to do with this. Joel Burnie, we've got to leave it there. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.